Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included here in the Ultimate Base 4.0. In the previous episode we finalized the industrial sauna. I now have to figure out a system to suck out the exact amount of heat that I want. For now, to lower the cooling power that we have, I disabled 2 of the steam turbines, so only 1 is active and providing new steam, aka new water for the room. And as long as I see the dripping down water immediately evaporating into steam, I'm pretty happy. As I deconstructed one of the natural gas generators, I unfortunately released a little bit of natural gas. That could be an issue. Also, this little piece of polluted oxygen, I think I might want to get rid of that at some point. Right now, let's also set this to all not for manual use, and the dirt on the floor will be picked up. And it will of course also go through the cooling process right there. Okay, now let's tend to something else. I would like to get some of this machinery down. For instance, the spice grinder still needs to be inside of the kitchen. So that means our wall will have to move a little bit. We can set that up right here. Gotta get rid of these 2 tiles though. That's gonna be an issue. And now, will you look at that? It also looks like we will need an automatic kill chamber. Now, I wonder, could I just input all of the eggs right here? And then the eggs that I want to cook will be put into the egg cracker and the others will just hatch here. They will have nowhere to go, therefore not impacting my game too much. And then when their life cycle is over, they're just gonna die. But then we also need to make sure we can actually replenish the numbers right here. So maybe we should always have an egg incubating and then all of the other eggs will be transported up. That is actually a really interesting idea. For the time being, let me wrangle up one of these guys and then we're gonna set this up here. Critter eggs, all of them should be moved over. And it looks like we still have a whole bunch of glossy Draclet eggs. So all of them should be moved over. And now the question is it gonna be worth it to, for instance, kill a glossy Draco instead of making an omelet out of it? Yeah, this actually needs to be tested. If I kill this glossy Draclet in its youth, Nisbet is taking care of that. What do we get? We get 3,200 kilocalories of meat. This meat will be processed into barbecue. We can see it takes that and creates 4,000 kilocalories with a good quality meal. Let's now check out the counterpart. So the eggs are now coming in. I want to see just how much kilocalories I can get from one of these eggs. And wait a second, where are you putting them? Ooh, that's not good. Let's get rid of what am I doing here? This is supposed to go back into the storage, so I don't necessarily need that right now. But what I need is to cook up 1 glossy Draclet egg. That should be put in here, and Joshua will be coming and taking care of that shortly. He's first cooking up some more pickled meal or barbecue. There is the egg. 1 raw egg comes with 1,600 kilocalories, and if we cook that up into an omelet, we get 2,800. So it's clearly beneficial to go for the barbecue. Even the morale is 4 points higher. Oh no, guys, I made a brutal mistake. My eggs, yeah, I just took out the other eggs. Okay, so my fry eggs are still in there, luckily, but of course we have to remove them here from the conditions. Fry eggs, gulp eggs, and all the fish eggs shouldn't be part of the equation. So now we could say, should we get any Draclet eggs, for instance? We want to cook them up. We're just going to go with the glossy Draclets for the meat. And I guess that's going to be it for now. Now, one other question is, could I wrangle up the critters diagonally? That would be interesting to know. Well, look at that. One of the glossy Draclets already hatched. Let's try to wrangle it up. Just see if that works. It says unreachable. Okay, so we would have to be content with them just hanging around here. And therefore, we need another way to replenish the numbers. Let's maybe try to put back the incubator we had previously in this room. Connect that up to power. But we're also going to set up some automation for it. I think for this one, we wanted to go with a timer sensor. Let's place that here and connect it up. The goal is basically to make Amari use the incubator and hug the egg once every cycle. But otherwise, we don't want the incubator to be activated so it doesn't constantly suck the power. And we're of course gonna select a glossy Draclet egg right there, incubate that, and then we should always have a critter. Whenever there are only 7 critters in this room, then the critter will be brought to this critter drop-off point, and otherwise we need another drop-off point. I'm gonna be representing that right here for the time being. It doesn't really matter for now. If we see some Draclets hanging around here, then that is gonna be the result. So I basically only want to bring the young glossy Draclet over here because that's what we should be getting from the incubator. As for the timer sensor, 1 cycle lasts for 600 seconds. let's say we need about 60 seconds to make it here and actually use the incubator. Maybe I'm gonna make this a little bit longer, 120 seconds. And then the red duration is gonna be everything else. Now we can only set it to 600. Can I go a little bit higher by doing it? No. So this could become an issue when the buff lasts exactly 600 seconds, then it's always gonna be a little bit later, and therefore at some point we're gonna miss the incubation or the hugging phase. Maybe it's better done with a cycle sensor. It could be that we can set it higher than 1 cycle. So we're gonna try that cycle sensor. No, it still only covers 1 entire cycle. This is stupid. No, it's just me who is stupid. The red phase can be 600 seconds and that would be perfect. Yeah, just forget me switching the sensor. The timer sensor was totally adequate with 120 seconds to 600 seconds. And now all we have to do is make sure that this incubator comes with the highest priority. Now, one thing that is a real pity is you cannot actually replace the tiles here in the background. That is actually extremely disappointing. So you cannot go in and actually change the wallpapers without consequences. In this case, I just have to act really quickly or do one after another, but I think we're just gonna go and set this to priority 9. Looks like Ren is doing a fabulous job. Of course, we are losing a whole bunch of oxygen, but what you gonna do? Now, it looks like together with the critters, it might be harder to keep this in a deep frozen state. Right now, we are at minus 12 degrees. That's not good. Yeah, maybe we want to make this even colder. Let's go down to minus 30 degrees. Shouldn't be an issue with the hydrogen. By the way, I'm now at 5 tons of steel again. That means I can go ahead and make the next silo. And you mentioned 3 silos are technically enough. I want to have 4 because I already know 4 purposes for my rockets. But I think we're gonna leave out the 5th for the time being to have that little extra space. It's now also time to clean things up a little bit. I wonder, if I sweep up material, where are they gonna bring it? Of course, right here. This is so perfect. Everything is actually here. There's an unreal amount of material just on this tile. Okay, then let's set up the bunker doors. Come on. Get one in here, then set up the drywall as well. Naturally, we can also not miss the cabling, and this is actually just continuing. Yeah, a little bit of automation as well. Get that down so we can individually open the door. Signal switch iron. Wait, I don't have enough iron. Totally forgot to craft that again. We still have 51 tons of iron ore, so that shouldn't be the issue. Let's go with another 90 crafts. But yeah, we can build the signal switch also out of something else. Okay, that will be 3 silos done. Right now, we cannot really utilize these 2 guys. Yeah, we need another solution for the interplanetary launcher, and we might even want multiple launchers for multiple planetoids. So it would be beneficial to leave at least one of these free. I mean, I cannot probably have that on top, though we have to test it. Can I? Ooh, no, this doesn't fit here. But we could have 2 launchers right here, maybe even 3 if we push this over a little bit. I mean, in the future, we can just have as many as we want because we are probably not going to be dependent on the solar power. Yeah, so I'm not going to worry. I'm going to build my launchers towards this side, eventually getting rid of the solar panels. Looks like I got some more naphtha. I'm going to mop this up. It will be automatically brought over, and eventually this little blob here is going to become more massive, and it's just very sticky. Now we can see with just 1 steam turbine activated, we can still take the heat, and it's about 150 degrees. So we know this steam turbine we want to activate at 150 degrees, then maybe this one at 175, and the last one at 180. Or 200. I think that is actually going to save us a lot of trouble. So just set up a thermosensor, and I'm going to do that below the steam turbines probably. Yeah, honestly, we have no other choice. Well, we could probably put it down below. I might have to experiment around with that. For now, I'm just gonna place them right here, get this hooked up, and we can have 3 individual settings. In the meantime, the kitchen now also counts as a kitchen and enables the spice grinder use. Is there anything we want to do? Improves operating skills, strengthens even the weakest of muscles. That could be useful in general, but we need waterweed seeds. With fungal spores and sucrose, we could boost the piloting abilities, and then freshener spice slows the decomposition of perishable foods with the meal ice. You know, in our situation, I don't really see the benefits. We would have to do this very specifically, like for the operators or the pilots. So the only thing I see beneficial for all the dupes currently is the brawny spice. But yeah, we'll see. At least we get a little bit of a boost now that this is a kitchen area. Also, I would like to get the glass forge into the crafting room now. We can have that go right here. This should still be reachable by the auto sweeper. Ooh, actually, maybe we can put it even closer. Yeah, if I put this right here, and then let's get a pipe made out of ceramic, and I put this up there, then I should be able to dump it immediately. And before I forget, I probably also want a ceiling light in here. Is this gonna cover both contraptions? I think no, probably not. But we can have one here and we can have one here that will then cover the entirety of the area. Of course, everything in here will require a little bit of power, should be easy. And then what else? We have the space for probably the rock crusher. Yeah, I see like these three machines being the most important ones. Oh no, that doesn't actually fit. We might have to put that here on the top. That would have been great though, but I don't really see a way to fit it unless, well, we don't need this ladder. Why do I even have that? Is it complicated to move everything? No, we just have to move the refinery one block over. This is actually perfect. Yeah, let's get rid of that ladder. Then just rebuild the metal refinery. The pipes are already routed the correct way. Oh no, we're struggling with power again. Yeah, I need to fix this. Let's see, the third engine here, I only want to be activated if the temperature reaches above 200 degrees, okay? Then the second guy, I want to be activated if we reach above 175 degrees, and this guy here only activate at 150 degrees. And now that we built everything in here, I'm just gonna seal this off again so this room can actually be more efficient when it comes to power production. By the way, there's still a little bit of a struggle with the carbon dioxide here. What we can do is replace these two guys with airflow tiles, and then once we got the initial oxygen or carbon dioxide out of there, we should be good. I mean, it did work for all the other floors, but this bathroom here is still bothering me slightly. Now we can also see the glossy draglet egg is right here and it is incubating. I want to know, did we take care of hugging it already? And now the incubator is disabled for the entirety of the cycle and therefore we're not wasting that power. In the meantime, I can see a little bit of a pattern here. Yeah, we probably, we want to activate this later. Like right up here, we still have 218 degrees, which is absolutely insane. But down here at the bottom, we're down to the 100 degrees already again. At least everything is more or less steam, but I still feel like I have to up the ante. Let's say 175 for the first one, 200 degrees for the second one, and 225 for the third one. 200 is theoretically the maximum you should aim for, but we have a very large steam room and I might have to implement some temp shift plates. As a matter of fact, we should totally think about that. I could make some temp shift plates easily with the cobalt, but then again, we would need quite a few in order to bring up the heat. I wonder, will we ever get to stabilize that temperature? Yeah, I think with the system here, we should be able to do it, but we might have to replace the sensors somewhere else so they are measuring the temperatures further down. At least now we have our tune-ups going on here and my natural gas generators are producing enough power to supply the base. Yeah, that's actually interesting. Now this went down below the 225, so it's not always active. But we might have to go even higher. I mean, what is the overheat temperature of this guy? 325. That means if we go 100 degrees lower, that should be a safe margin. Yeah, maybe we don't even have to have them at different settings, but we're just gonna have them all at 250 degrees, for instance. Let's test that out. 250. Copy those settings over to the other sensors. So all three steam turbines get activated pretty late in the process. But slowly and surely we are accumulating more steam. We're already at 4 kilograms, contrary to the 2 kilograms like 10 minutes ago. Okay, let me think. What about an oxalite refinery? We could put that here, but that could result in issues. Well, unless we have a auto sweeper. Wait a second. I got my... Oh no, that could be another issue. What if we have a creature that actually eats chlorine? I cannot even tell if I still have some gases in there. It's still chlorine. Okay. Which creature eats chlorine? Here. Okay. We cannot have squeaky puffs in here. Oh, geez. That's not good. Let me see. Squeaky puffs. Just tell me we don't have any of those in there yet. Squeaky? No. Okay, good. Then we need to remove them. They cannot eat my chlorine. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna remove all critter eggs, and I'm only gonna do the ones that I potentially get from my farms. Like, we don't have any of the other farms just yet, so I'm not gonna do it. You know, that makes a little bit more sense to me. So I'm getting all critter eggs out again, and I'm just gonna rotate them back in. Oh no! What happened here? I totally cut off the upper portion of the base. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Horrible. Oh no, I know exactly when this happened. This must have been a couple of cycles ago. I'm such an idiot. Everything goes down the drains now. Ah, there it is. Okay, the lullaby actually now worked, and we are experiencing the red phase. Okay, I think this is good. The glossy draglets should now be automatically replenished. Okay, so Oxylite Refinery. This one requires a little bit of oxygen and also gold. It will then drop some oxylite on the floor, and of course the oxylite would off-gas in case we have some carbon dioxide on the floor, which is likely because the dupes are working here. However, if we always immediately pick it up with an auto sweeper that we can have on the top here, let's test this out. We can have one. Ooh, looks like the Oxylite Refinery is a little bit higher than I thought. Yeah, that is going to be an issue. So I'm definitely going to put that on the top here, and we're now going to take ourselves the time to move the refinery. Yeah, I can see having the critters in here is actually a huge problem, but I wonder, could I maybe kill them off? I mean, sometimes you can kill critters like diagonally. I don't think that actually is going to work. Yeah, I cannot really have everything, but what we could do is just have a secondary containment chamber. Let me see, molecular forge. Yeah, this is gonna require the entire size of the room. But you know, instead of bringing the critters here, we could just confine them in a different tile. And we could even drown them if we wanted. Then I could have my molecular forge here and collect the supercoolant on the bottom. I like that. I like that idea. Where is this going? This is also going up here. So we could technically reach this tile. If I now also surround this like so, we might be able to pull this off. In this case, we could take the conveyor loader we have set up here and move up into the containment chamber. And then as soon as the creatures get processed to meat, then my auto sweeper will still be able to grab it. Oh no, what the heck am I doing? Why am I breaking everything? What's going on? Jeez, okay. Apparently I just like to take apart my base. I know, it happens when I deconstruct the ladders and then you deconstruct this tile, it actually affects the heavy watt conductive charm plate, and this is always confusing me. The same thing happened here. I took apart the ladders. Good, now the eggs will be delivered here, but they will immediately be transferred over to the next system. Well, I could even enable all critter eggs and put this at a low priority. This would cause the egg cracker to have priority in case we want to crack up some eggs, and therefore it's not going to be brought over. Yeah, I'm actually glad I didn't put the Oxylite Refinery down below, because right now we can have it inside of the supercoolant that is going to be produced by the molecular forge right there. And then I still should have enough space for an auto sweeper to kind of automate this. Get rid of that and that. All we need is a rock crusher. No, the rock crusher is gonna go here. So we are still missing the plant pulverizer and the bleachstone hopper, and maybe a bunch of kilns. Yeah, not sure yet. I'm gonna put that here, put that maybe here, and put that right there. Okay, rock crusher in the meantime goes here. This should be built out of gold and hooked up to power. Unfortunately, now I have a whole bunch of creatures in here, and I can't take it. I have to decommission these guys so my deep frozen storage works. Yeah, all of you guys need to die. I'm so sorry. And with that out of the way, we probably have a vacuum again, so we have to reintroduce the bleachstone. No problem, we can do that right here. What was it? I always forget. Consumable or probably bleachstone. Yeah. Let me see that happen. Bleachstone is in there, so I'm gonna take it out again. That's probably enough. Good, now we need to replace this tile here with pastel purple, and bleachstone is filling up again. Look at that! We have quite a bit of food. This is really good news. And also it's like the perfect space for my molecular forge and the Oxylite Refinery. I'm actually really surprised how this turned out. Now, how are we gonna deal with that? There's some cabling and stuff just going through, but generally it probably doesn't matter. And then as soon as we set up the conveyor chute, we cannot even see it. And voila, this is much better. Now my eggs are in here. However, I want to make this even better by setting up a bottle emptier, and we're gonna fill this up with a little bit bit of water. This is gonna cause most of the animals to drown, and therefore we don't have to deal with too high numbers. If we get a bottle of 200 kilograms, this should already be enough. Let's see who is bringing it. Jean is coming. Yeah, do you have a full bottle? No, you don't. I only want full bottles, guys. Ah, well, it doesn't matter. Let's put that in and then just wait for another one. Wait a second, I'm in a pickle again because I can pick out from both of the storages. The eggs are now just getting recycled the entire time. That doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense, but I'm just stupid. That's what I mean. Well, one way we could fix that and then also freeing up a conveyor loader is just by separating the rails. I mean, at some point we can just sort it out. For instance, filter. Wait, I did not unlock that. Oh my gosh. We're looking for a solid filter. Wow, this is actually really advanced. Holy cow. Okay. I mean, technically we can do it. We still have 30 data banks or so, and this is why I left everything intact so we can do the research. Not so sure how many data banks we have. 50 units. Okay, it's actually going to be enough to do the research. We only need 30. Very nice. But we need to fill up the material study 4 times. But this would then mean we can, for instance, sort out the critters here and then bring them right into this storage instead of recycling it all the time. I figured it was a brilliant idea to be able to reach the storage, but it's just vicious cycles. But yeah, maybe it's better to be able to reach both of these guys. I just wonder, can I also reach the gas range? Otherwise, we might be in some other issues. But I'm ready to redesign this in case it doesn't work. Right now, all I want to do is make sure we have a secondary rail that directly goes over here. So this is gonna be my critter egg rail. We could then go ahead and use this portion here as our filter. If I do this now though, I cannot really reach anything. Yeah, let me go ahead and build a ladder there. This is gonna allow me to deconstruct 3 ladders right here in order to set up the filter. No, it's actually not possible. There's the slot from the heavy watt conductive joint plate. So we rather do something like this by just setting it up in a horizontal fashion. That means we will be taking a detour into the filter. Right here we are filtering out, oh, I can only filter out 1 item at a time. This is so stupid. What the heck am I even doing, man? So I think for now I'm gonna change that completely by just going below here, and then we can potentially use the center storage here. I might want to move this conveyor chute, to be honest. Move conveyor chute over by 1. Yeah, sure. And then we could be going straight through in order to bring the eggs to their corresponding location. Okay, let's try this again. We're gonna get all the eggs in here that we want. I think it's just the Draglet and the glossy ones. And then I probably need to remove some of the infrastructure in order to reach all of the places and build these rails. But yeah, I can see this now coming along. At least it is kind of a solution until we have a better one. There is the rest of my water. That should then be enough. That means I can have my insulated tile right there. And ooh, wait, let's first build that conveyor rail. Wonderful. Now, as soon as I have some critters in here, they should automatically be drowning. We'll see if that pans out. I just have to say, I enjoy this game so much. People are now working inside the base. It is much more efficient, even before I set up any conveyor receptacles. I mean, I might set them up. Right now, I'm pretty happy with the dupes just bringing the stuff over. What I would like to see taken care of, though, is all the debris that's basically falling on the ground. Right now, we cannot really cover everything, but we could add another auto sweeper, maybe. I might have to distribute the lights a little bit better. So yeah, for now, I do not worry too much about this. I will be automating this room, but first I would like to get this integrated into the base. So we first need a little bit of background material. Just gonna go with solid charcoal here as well and make sure this entire room is layered up. Something else I finally did is I integrated some temp shift plates. There are temp shift plates every other tile. I could have them 2 tiles apart, but I felt like I want to really push down the heat, and I really think that helped because we now get 210 degrees down below while we get 235 upstairs. So it's no more a 100-degree difference. This is really good news and potentially means we can cool this down even sooner than 250 degrees, so we can be more efficient. Let's maybe try 225 degrees right there. This is going to activate all of our steam turbines at full capacity, and then we get this to cool down again. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it does cool down extremely quickly, already back to 190 degrees. But yeah, then we have the thermo sensors shutting off every now and then. But yeah, power wise, we're actually a little bit thin. It's good if we can activate the steam turbines. Do we? Yeah, we don't really have enough space for another one of these power control stations. That would actually have been amazing. I could potentially do it right here, but then I don't have a way to get up. Oh, interesting. I will have to think about it, but it might be worth tuning these guys up as well. Let's get back to our building project here. I just quickly want to finish this, then include it into the base so I have a little bit of an easier access. And now all of these eggs are incubating here. The glossy Dracolids, they pretty much die immediately, and then we just cook them up. So they can just remain in here, the meat, until we cook it up, and then the cooked version is gonna land in here where it is safe and sound at minus 28 or minus 30 degrees right now. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We can now increase the amount of food we're getting because we can indefinitely store it. And then I also have all of my workstations. I just need to rearrange a couple of things. But I'm already looking forward to using the molecular forge, for instance. Let's build these two tiles as well, maybe from the top. We'll also be needing some power wires here, and probably there. Yeah, I don't really want to hook this up to transformers. That would be a nightmare. Also, by the way, I have a constant stream of materials coming in, maybe from the volcanoes or the critter stations. I really feel like things are coming along, and sooner than later we might not even be dependent on getting the cobalt through this, and we can just have it function normally. But I first want to get access to the supercoolant. Right now it was important to be able to run all aqua tuners at the same time, since, well, we can now keep up actually. Pretty good. We'll still have to get back in there in order to fix some of the pipes. That's just how it goes, but other than that, not much went wrong. And now we're about to complete this room as well. Let's maybe think about how to get oxygen in there. Like, it would be nice to get down here, maybe have a little vent there, and then just continue as well downstairs to have a vent here. And that means we need a little bridge there, probably. Yeah, gas bridge here and there. Looks like my room is completed. Oh, this is so wonderful. Just need my gas pipes as well. We should probably set up the lights and everything because I cannot really reach the top. This is so annoying sometimes. I wish there was a scaffold building that you just can place anywhere, even in front of buildings, so you can reach the top. Like, can we build this gas bridge? Is somebody coming? I don't think so. Yeah. Oh, wait. Who built it? I just totally missed that. So now I can bring this down and set up a gas vent and gas vent here as well. Well, once the ladder is gone, and that means our loop is a little bit stuck again. In this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and extract one more packet. Looks like Meep is up for the task. Wait. You already extracted one packet. That is enough, probably. Is it just one? Yeah, it's one. So I want to extract two because we have two bridges. Then that's gonna be good. This is gonna guarantee a constant flow again. Now, just to give you a little taste of the molecular forge, we have materials such as insulation, which has no heat transfer at all, so it's the perfect insulator, and it's also finally used for the sucky abyssalite. Next we have the visco gel, which is a really sticky insulator, so it would be useful to make liquid locks. And then there is the plastium that comes with an overheat temperature of plus 900 degrees. And of course the supercoolant, which is just absolutely amazing. And we definitely want that. We basically can barely overheat it. Well, it is overheatable, but we can cool it down to an extreme degree as well. And my goal would be to replace everything that has to do with water that I'm using for cooling at the moment. Even the water inside of here, I would like to be supercoolant so we can make it super cool. But yeah, at this point, I think we're ready to wall this off. Ooh, I should... okay, I know why I left this space. This should have been a metal tile wall, but I guess it doesn't really matter for this wall. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry too much. Let's just go ahead and close this off. Well, Nisbet just trapped herself, which is fine. This is now included inside of the base, so we can open up the real doorway, which is gonna go here. And of course, we're gonna set up another pneumatic door. Maybe you're gonna build this quickly, so not too much oxygen is gonna escape. Some hydrogen. I'm gonna move the hydrogen over here to the volcano, so maybe we can already release it there. Okay, but with that out of the way, oh my gosh, just don't do it again. But yeah, with that out of the way and the room completed, well, at least this room right here, Wow, completed is also exaggerated. Let's just forget it. The episode is long enough, and with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap it up for today. I feel really happy. I also feel like we should really aim for the supercolons. That is the next thing I want to do. So maybe in the next episode, we're gonna make an exploration rocket in order to figure out where we can find fullerene. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time, and hopefully I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Bye bye.